Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Angel Love, here with your Aew Dynamite Road Rager review for July 7th, 2021. Was a show that left me speechless. I would say I think we are all pumped up for Dynamite being back on the road again after 16 months. Uh, I mean, not much to put into words. Well, so we had Aleister Black, aka Malakai Black. Uh, he made his AEW debut, which I'll get into in a bit. We also had Andrade's Del Idolo in-ring debut in a decent match against Matt Sydal. I'll get to that in a sec, but first, I have to say though, because I just want to get it out, it is just so. It was so fulfilling to see Aleister Black, Tommy End, who will now be called Malakai Black, in AEW. One of the reasons being is, of course, we know that for the last decade, is that talents we know that comes to NXT mostly doesn't get used at all properly. And the fact that he was so credible in NXT, and you know, he has the look, he has the wrestling ability, he has just the aura about him. And the fact that he wasn't used properly in WWE is just so ridiculous. So to see him in AEW and he drops Cody and he drops Arn Anderson. Just the way he looked, the vibes he was giving off, it's just man, I it's gonna be so good seeing him with better creative, better backstage actual freedom he'll be given. Creative freedom in AEW, which I believe. And yeah, just wanted to get that out first. But again, thank you for joining me. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. Uh, how about the video? And now, after that, those thoughts, now let's get into the review. So, first off, you can see the stage. You can see how the ramp wasn't huge, but it was decent size. Seeing the stage, seeing not just the fact that it wasn't Daly's Place, although Daly's Place we know provides some great moments for AEW. And the crowd was all filled. I'm not sure if it's normal style venue because of course there were sections uh, for the crowd, but it is full. And the show started off with Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall. South Beach strap match. Now, it made sense. Well, this match I don't think should have started the show. Um, it just felt kind of flat, but I get it because it's Cody and he's basically the face kind of AEW. And so hearing his theme music along with the crowd, very good start. Although Kitchen Marshall getting a jobber entrance was not really a good way to start for AEW. That's me nitpicking, but that's a little bit. So Cody, he took it to Kitchen Marshall's start. Suicida attacking him on the outside, bring him in the ring. So the strap was set up, and then the rules were someone has to touch all four corners successfully in order to win the match. So it was a good match. Uh, Cody, he was whipping QT, and then Marshall got the upper hand. Took its time whipping Cody, and then there was an attack by Aaron Solo. He and Nick Camarado, they were at ringside for Marshall. And so after Solo attacked Cody, once he was going to touch all four corners, then Dustin Rhodes came out. He took out Aaron Solo. So that's the way it started. Then after was a low blow with the strap by Marshall. Hit a German suplex. They were on the outside. And Marshall, he was dragged into the ring post. And then he was busted open. Probably bladed. Just the way the shot was. But not sure. It was a decent amount. Because usually in a Cody match, someone has to be bleeding. So then Marshall hit a flatliner, and then they were fighting on the top rope, and Cody went for a Hurricanrana, but was countered to a powerbomb. Then Cody, Marshall, he tied up Cody in the strap, and then he was on the top rope, and then like a Tower of London spot, which Desmond Wolfe, aka Nigel McGuinness, used to do in TNA. Marshall had a cutter off the top rope on Cody. Cody fired back with a Cody cutter, and then hit he touched the first three corners of in succession, and then he looked at QT and then delivered not one, not two, but three crossroads, and then touched the fourth corner, and then Cody wins. And that's how Road Rager starts. Again, a good match, but it felt kind of flat, I assume, in some people's eyes. Probably not the way it should have started, but a good match. The lights actually went out and during the match, which was a signal for basically what happened later in the show, which I'll get to. So, Shawn Spears, they showed Shawn Spears, him helping MJF succeed over Sammy Guevara last week. And so Shawn Spears, who is shown backstage, he cut a promo on Sammy Guevara, and then all of a sudden we see Shawn Spears attacked with a weapon, and then next thing we know, Sammy Guevara ambushes Shawn Spears, gets a one up on him, and he says, "This ain't over." So, continuing that feud nicely, which I have no problem with. So, then we had Kenny Omega, the busy man, the world champion. He was, well, Cody said it was an interview to start, and then it was mostly just a in-ring promo, interrupted by the Dark Order of Kenny Omega. So he and Don Callis, they were out, and you can tell that Kenny Omega, as I assumed everyone was, the fact that he looked different. He looked those vibes of glad we're back on the road again. Because he was basically kind of taking it all in. So, Omega and Callis were out there. Callis took the microphone from Shivani. He told Shivani just to stand away. So, then we got a "You Got Fired" chant. You got fired. For Don Callis, considering he got quote unquote fired from Impact Wrestling. So then Callis fired back with, "Real men don't quit, they get fired." So there's that. And then he told the crowd that they were witnessing history, that he ran down the history of Kenny Omega's title reign the last few months, how he's beaten Moxley, Phoenix, Rich Swann, Moose, etc., Jungle Boy. Well, he didn't really get into Rich Swann and Moose, but that's another key. And they again iterated how there's no one left for him in AEW, how they got a problem for a Fight for Fallen. So then we hear the Dark Order's music play. And then once again, the Dark Order comes out. Evil Uno, he kicked in the ring, got in Omega's face. He bushed off Don Callis, saying, "Let the real men talk." So he was asking Omega, why is he ducking? Why is he refusing to acknowledge and avoiding the challenge of his friend, aka Adam Page. So then we got some cowboy shit chants from the crowd. You know, they can feel it. Hangman Adam Page. So Omega tried to get in Uno's head. He asked him about history lessons. Then he gave Uno a low blow. Then the Dark Order came into the ring, uh, attacked Omega, trying to save, protect Uno, and then the Elite came out to fend off, save Omega, and then all of a sudden we hear Hangman Adam Page's music hits, and then that eruption just, you can tell that they are ready. They are ready. How it's still July, but once All Out comes in September, they are ready for it for Hangman versus Kenny Omega. So then we didn't see it, but we saw the build up towards it. Hangman, he looked like he was about to hit Omega with the buckshot lariat, and then right off the bat he stops. They have a stare down. They're in the middle of the ring. They have a war of words. Then Omega retreats. And then, yeah. This is one heck of a match that cannot wait for. And it's just going to be fireworks when it happens. The other thing, too, is Kenny Omega. Of course, he's a heel, but he got a good amount of cheers in Miami, which I can get it because Omega, he's the best wrestler on the planet today. So, I mean, even though he's a heel, there's obviously mass respect for Omega. So then after that, we had JR. He had a sit down with Ethan Page and Darby Allin. So he asked about their disdain for each other and about their history. Darby talked about how Page was complacent, how that it took him 12 years to break out of where he was, and it only took Darby 1 year to break out. So Darby talked about how Page, he had kids, he got married, he settled down, whereas Darby said he was living in a car. He dropped everything to pursue, to be here. And then Page was like fully compliant. He said that everything Darby iterated was true. He said that Darby skipped the line. He said that he brought Darby into this world, and that come next week at Fyter Fest Night 1 in the coffin match, he will take him out of this world. So Fun match to look forward to next week in Austin, Texas. The coffin match between Darby and Ethan Page should be fun. And Ethan Page, even though I'm not fond of this pairing between him and Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page is coming along more and more so each week with his promo work, the way he's looked coming off is just really good improvement. Whereas he was by himself in Impact before he paired with Josh Alexander for the North. By himself, he was kind of vanilla. He was cocky, but he didn't really add too much with him. So now AEW, he is coming along so more by himself, and it's just good to see. Darby is Darby. I imagine he's gonna get his win back from the handicap match, and should be good. Next, we had the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle, 6-man tag. Wardlow and FTR for Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Hager. This was good. I mean, again, the notion of the night. Everyone's refreshed. Even though the heels, you can tell they were rejoice being in front of or on the road again in full crowds. And seeing Santana Ortiz back again, as well as Hager, around crowds is just real good to see. So, the Inner Circle, they were with Cohen, and I believe this is the first time that Tully Blanchard has been really on the road with FTR, I think. Yeah, I think this is the first time that FTR is on the road in AEW, which good to see. But nonetheless, this was short but sweet. A good match. So was a quick start by Santana and Dax. They were just brawling in the middle of the ring to start. Then we get way into match was a power bomb, Hager bomb combination. Hager, when he got the hot tag, he was like a house on fire, taking care of business. Then Ortiz, when they maneuver for a 2 count. Then there was an exchange between him and Wardlow. And then Tully had the referee distracted at the end of the match. And FTR hit the big rig on Hager. Wardlow followed up with the pin. 1, 2, 3. The Pinnacle. I almost said the Inner Circle. The Pinnacle get the win in a 6-man tag. Afterwards, Conan, he tried with a stuffed sock, tried to get the advantage on Wardlow, but it didn't face him. And then Tully Blanchard, he had a chop block on Conan after the match. So, once again, Cody gets the advantage on Cohen. Next week, Fyter Fest Night 1. Also, we got the return of Jon Moxley on Aew Dynamite. He will defend the IWGP United States Championship against Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson, he got a nice promo on Moxley, talking about how he's ridiculous, how Moxley is still the IWGP US Champion, and that next week he'll bring the title back to the Elite, and that'll be the return of the Machine Gun, Carl Anderson. So, should be interesting. Heck of a return, I would say, for Moxley, being away, nurturing the new birth of his kid or his child. So then we had the face-off between MJF and Chris Jericho. So they were in the middle of the ring, and there was a table set up in the middle of the ring. They sat on the opposite sides of the table. There was a contract in the middle of the ring with MJF's stipulations for another match with Chris Jericho. MJF was upset about the fans, how they were catering to Jericho, how he was drinking it all in. He talked about how everyone wants a piece of him, and Jericho says he won't back down from MJF's stipulations, and that I'll do anything. He said he'll stand in front of a truck, he'll fight everyone, and that he'll even have sex with MJF's mother. Again. So that obviously ticked off MJF. That was just a swell moment. Although I didn't see it, there was a fat fan that was running to the ring, going after MJF, and he was taken down by a security guard, and Jericho sort of helped. So Jericho also said he shouldn't let that fat guy come in and beat his ass. So that was another hilarious part. So MJF brought up Greek mythology, saying how 5 labors. Jericho will go through 5 labors, 5 challenges to go through to get to MJF. So basically, Jericho will have to go through all the members of the Pinnacle with different stipulations, and in order to get to MJF at All Out, which should be very interesting. So, but to end it, MJF said it's not official until you shake my hand. So he told Jericho, shake my hand or the deal's off. So reluctantly, Jericho shook MJF's hand, but right as MJF was about to leave, and Jericho pulled him in and then landed a juice effect. And that is how the segment ends. And just couldn't have done it any better. And the lead up to All Out will just be very interesting to see how Jericho's going to go through. Looks like each member of FTR, Dax Harwood, uh, Cash Wheeler, Wardlow, and Shawn Spears to get to MJF. Gonna be interesting. So then we have Britt Baker. She was backstage talking with Tony Schiavone. She was with Rebel. She was obviously upset because Rebel, she was injured in turn from last week's match. We can tell she was limping. So she's once again back on the crutch, a different crutch. Luckily, Britt Baker's okay. She was upset at Tony Khan for making the match that no one wanted to see because it was true. So she told Nyla Rose point blank that she'll never get this title back again. For night 2 of Fyter Fest in 2 weeks, Dallas, Texas, should be interesting. Then, arguably, also a very interesting part late into the show was Matt Sydal versus Andrade Del Idolo. I'm not sure what Andrade was wearing going into the match on his entrance, but man, did he look like $1,000,000. He looked like I would say a Terminator, like uh, just the skies and all. It looked like a hitman mercenary. It was just couldn't say enough. Just good to see him, and one heck of a venue for him to have his debut against Matt Sydal, who racked up a good win against Dante Martin last time we saw him. And he is apparently number 5 ranked in the men's division. So, talk about an important debut for Andrade Del Idolo. So, some of the moves we were so equipped to seeing him with in NXT, we saw here in this match. He had the double moonsault where he comes off with the moonsault off top rope, then his opponent rolls out of the way, and then off his feet he does another moonsault so he did that for a 2 count. Sydal, he was sent crashing off the top rope, going to break. Later in the match, Sydal got some offense back in, hit a big kick, which decked Andrade. But Andrade followed up with a big lariat. And then Sydal hit a big meteor off the top rope for a near fall. Andrade then followed back with his signature corner knee strike, and then followed up with I'm I'm not sure if it was actually a modification or if he was trying to go for it and he just wasn't able to, but of his Hammerlock DT in WWE, but he hit a Hammerlock flatliner on Andrade, sorry, I'm just so excited from this episode, but on Sydal, which he calls the El Idolo for the win. Heck of a debut. Afterwards, he took off his belt and he tied up one of the arms of Sydal and locked on a arm lock to both arms of Sydal, just like insult to injury. Not really injury. Hope Sydal's all good, but heck of a debut for Andrade over number 5 ranked Matt Sydal. So then we got a promo for next week. It'll be Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy, night 1 of Fyter Fest next week. So I imagine that Christian Cage will get the win, and then he'll turn heel quite after. But I'm good for nostalgia once in a while. So I think everyone's kind of over this feud, but should be an okay match next week. Then we got the big moments. The big moments of last night's show, which I marked out for completely. I'm sure that he did. So we cut to the ring. Tony Schiavone is interviewing Arn Anderson. So he talked about how Cody got his win earlier against Marshall. His son Brock has done well so far to start in AEW. So things must be going well for the Nightmare family. So Arn took the microphone, talked about how they miss the fans, miss being live crowds on the road again. And he said, okay, let's just cut to the chase. So then once again, the lights go out. And then once they come back on, Aleister Black, Tommy End, Malakai Black, which is what he'll be called now in AEW, Malakai Black. He hits a black mass, and boy, is it so good to see that roundhouse kick, the black mass, happen again. He lays out Arn Anderson. Tony Schiavone hightails it out of the ring. And then next we see Cody. He charges to the ring. He tells Malakai Black to back away, back off. And then we see a black mask to Cody as well. Malakai Black, he stands tall. He backs away from the ring and he takes it in from the crowd. Just what a moment. What a moment. Now, so right off the bat, it looks like the first big feud for Malakai Black will be Cody, which I don't mind because uh, Cody is basically bulletproof for AEW, the minds of fans, where especially considering he's taken so much wins the last number of weeks. He can defend the loss, and against Malakai Black, it would definitely be. I mean, it's not like against a jobber or anybody. It's against Black, and it wouldn't be a bad loss for Cody. It would be, and it would definitely cement Black in the eyes of AEW audience, who last night pretty much knew who he was from that reception. It was just a thrilling reception. And so, Black, I mean, it's good that he's still gonna keep his dark character, his, which is gonna be good to see. Him versus Cody. I mentioned that Black is gonna have a few wins, a couple wins to start going into All Out. And then we get this match, Black versus Cody, and with Black winning over Cody, it basically already cements him as a top guy in AEW. And that's pretty much all we know. And that's the right way to go. Um, I know some people will be critical because his first big feud will be against Cody. Well, yes, Cody is basically the face of AEW, whether people like it or not. And, I mean, Black is a huge. He's already a star. He's already. People know who he is. I mean, it's not going to do him justice to have him face a soft guy for his first feud. We know who Black is. We know how talented he is. So get him in the ring with Cody, which I'm sure is going to be a good match, and get a win over Cody will already start him on this path of excellence in AEW and show what he's got to those who don't know about him. And also, another reason why people would be critical is because it's Cody, as he's putting himself in a lot of wins lately. You know, win after win after win after win. And against the Go-Go, they tried to get him over, but it didn't work. So Cody beat him, and we haven't seen a Go-Go since that tag team match. So, I mean, I get why they're critical, but this is the right thing to do, though, for Cody to job to not necessarily job, but lose in a heck of a match to Aleister Black or Malakai Black. But again, what a moment. I mean, him and Andrade del Idolo, and we know they had some epic matches. First in NXT, then on the main roster, they had a heck of a match as well. But yeah, I can't wait. So then we had a pre-taped segment of Team Taz. We saw Ricky Starks. He had security with him to protect him from Brian Cage. And he went down. He talked trash about Brian Cage, saying saying that he's gonna party like an FTW champion, and how the W and wife or FTW means wife, and that he's talking about Brian Cage's wife. So that obviously set off Brian Cage, and Brian Cage, he went after Starks at the ring, but Starks hightailed it. We're getting this match next week. Brian Cage for Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks back from his neck injury. I'm all for it. Brian Cage, they're trying to build him more as a face. We'll see how he fares in the reception in Austin. So then we had mixed tag team match. The Bunny and the Blade versus Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander. This is okay. I mean, not much. In the end, so the Blade, he knocked out Orange Cassidy with the brass knuckles. But then Chris Statlander, she made a blind tag as Orange Cassidy was knocked out. So that there was miscommunication between Buddy and the Blade, and then Statlander, she followed up with the Big Bang Theory tombstone on the Buddy for the win. Heck of a win for Chris Statlander. She and Orange Cassidy get another win in this short feud between her, the Buddy, and the Blade. After that, we had a theatric. So Dan Lambert, who is the coach of American Top Team in Florida, he was with Jorge Masvidal and Amanda Nunes they were there, part of the crowd. So Lambert, he took the microphone, he went in the ring, he cut a promo, and he got laid out by Lance Archer, who came to the bell ring, decked Lambert, and hit the blackout on Dan Lambert. So there's that. Then we get to the main event. Heck of a main event. Street fight between the Young Bucks, Kingston, and Penta for tag team titles. This was heck of a way to end the show. The Young Bucks didn't come out with their strange mustaches, but they did come out with that strange jewelry, their earrings. It's just, once again, part of their heel look. So, Penta and Kingston, they were trying to attack Red Color, who's in the middle ring, but they were ambushed from behind with chairs by the Bucks. Penta, he stomped the chair on the Nick's Jackson's. Know what that means? But, so, a destroy, probably the best spot at the match, a destroyer by Penta on Matt Jackson through a table on the outside. Real spot. Then was a senton back from ring by Nick Jackson on a trash can that was on Kingston for a near fall. Penta, he was in the middle of the ring. He led a flurry of strikes and moves on the Bucks. Then there was a rear naked choke by Kingston on Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, he was on the top rope. He landed a 450 on the referee, which took him out. Matt Jackson, he tapped, but the referee didn't see it. So the Good Brothers came out to get the advantage. Then Penta hit Tope Gold Hero, which took them out. So Kazarian, from out of nowhere, he powerbombed Brandon Cutler through a table on the outside, took him out. There was a fear factor and a backhand by Kingston for a near fall. Then a magic killer by the Good Brothers took out Kazarian on the outside. And Kingston, he brought thumbtacks in the match. So they were set up in the middle of the ring. Then Nick Jackson, he landed a avalanche Frankensteiner Hurricanrana off the top rope on Penta through these sacks. Nice spot. So, for their fall. Then the Bucks, they were attacking Kingston. They threw tags in the face of Penta, took him out. Then they put tags in the mouth of Kingston, super kicked him, then a double cover on Kingston for the win. Heck of a way and heck of an end to the show, Road Rager. I mean, heck of a show. Not much to nitpick about it, but heck of a show, heck of a way for AEW to return to the road. Happy about that. So glad. Aleister Black, Malakai Black was really the big moment, but heck, some good matches on the show, along with Andrade's debut, in-ring debut. But good show. And next week, it'll be Fighter Fest, Night 1 in Austin, Texas. Some good matches, the Coffin match. We got Christian Cage, Matt Hardy. We got... Sorry, forgot. Going back. So... Oh yeah, 2 weeks, it's Rick Baker without a Rose. Moxley and Carl Anderson, they fight next week. So some good stuff for next week, but good that he's back on the road. So with that, everyone, that's the episode for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did as well. I'll be back on Tuesday. Talk to topics, but thank you if you liked it. Click the like button. Click the subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you. See you Tuesday. Be safe. Peace.